Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Deep Dive Discography. It is I, your boy Marcus, and I am joined today by the one and only, the impeccable Mr. Morgan Reid. Hello,
Hello.
What's
What's
going
up,
on, man?
everybody?
Oh,
What is going?
What's up?
I don't know, man. It's 29 degrees here. Friggin' cooking.
Damn, that's hot. You live in Germany, don't you?
Yeah, I've been living in East Germany for the last 8 years.
Wow.
Pretty nice out here.
But at one point, you
Uh,
lived in Toronto, didn't you?
yeah, I grew up in Toronto.
And
I
how'd you
left
make
when
it
I
all the way
was.
over across the pond? What happened there?
I guess I can keep this short, but pretty much I went to school in Holland when I was 18. I left my art school there to go to a dance school, if you'll believe that. Dance school in Rotterdam,
You see,
Holland.
actually, I do believe that because I saw you dancing in your latest music video, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's got chops! Like, what? Where did this come from?"
Yeah, dude. I saw your first video. You were like, "Oh, nice, you got somebody else on the set," and I was like, yep."
Oh, that was you. Just where? Oh,
It
what?
was me all along.
Damn, I gotta pay
No, but that
attention.
that was the thing. Like with I didn't want to like spill the beans too quickly, for people who don't know me and shit. So should
Well,
be should be all good.
for those who don't know, I guess we should probably set up who you are and why I'm talking to you. You play guitar, as rumor
I
would
do
have it. You play guitar in a couple bands that we might have heard of. One of them being Bloodshot Dawn.
indeed.
Who else do you play
Uh,
with?
I mean that's definitely my main band. I've been with that band for like 6 years. And we did a Canadian tour before COVID. And we're thinking about coming back. Hopefully, we'll come back soon. So that's kind of like my main band, and like my solo project, I would consider it a band as well, even though I'm not. You know what I mean? It's like the same kind of workload as a band, but maybe a little bit more nitpicky.
Well, it's all you,
Because
right?
you
So
get
it's
crazy, you're like,
like,
oh, I wrote this fucking riff, and I want people to listen to it, and then that's not the end of it.
no, no, it never is.
Um, and I actually have a kind of like top secret project, but I guess people are going to hear about it soon enough. So I'm working with Jason Melodoni, who's the guitarist of Cytotoxin. They're kind of like a tech deathcore outfit. Yeah, I mean, probably people know them these days. They're playing a lot of big festivals and stuff. They're
Yeah.
actually going to Mexico like next week or something.
Oh,
So
no kidding.
they're starting to do a bit more international stuff as well.
Yeah, they're from
And
Eastern Europe. Is that correct?
they're from East Germany. Yeah, they're like from
East
around my
Germany. Oh,
area.
okay. For some reason, I thought they
Yeah.
were from Slovakia or something. I'm tripping, dog.
I mean, Slovakia is not that far from where we are, and Czech, like we're pretty much on the border to Czech, so it's not like
Oh,
geographically, it's not far, right? But no, they're all like I would say they're based in like Chemnitz, Dresden kind of area, and I'm in Leipzig, so it's kind of like a triangle of cities
right.
for all the geography lesson for all you guys out there.
Yeah, dude, that's Greek to me, man. I don't know shit about geography. I've been living in Canada longer than I care to. I'm not really from Canada. Like, I was born in Canada, but I moved all over. My geography is abysmal, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, I
Well,
lived in the States and I lived in the Middle East and I ended up back in Ontario.
damn.
But yeah, dude, maps don't read them. I'm notoriously bad at directions. It's terrible. I'm like a
Oh
Google
no.
Maps kind of guy when I drive.
Okay, dude, were you around for that? So this is a throwback for all the Canadians.
Yeah,
You remember that like Rick Mercer, his skit he had a skit called Talking to Americans.
I do remember that. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God, dude. You would have been one of those dudes. You like come up and be like, "Where's Africa?
I'm not that
What?
bad.
Where's the city of Africa?" And then he'd just be like, "I think it's in the toilet."
We
But
do.
I think he cherry picked the people. Like, come on, come on.
Well, I don't know, man. I actually, dude, I toured the States a bit. I played. Well, I guess we still exist, so to speak. We're called Inhalants. Hardcore band from St. Catharines, and we only really did American shows. But everyone in the band right now lives in different parts of the world, so I don't really know what's going on. Not the point. Anyways, we toured the States a bunch, and we did a lot of like the Rust Belt, and I love the Yankees. I love the people, but I think they're also on some shit. I think
Ah,
they they have some very peculiar ideals, and sometimes when I was talking to people like at festivals, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm from Canada. I'm from Ontario. Like 8-hour drive from where you all live." they would ask me the craziest questions, man. They'd be like, "Oh, is it always snowing in Canada?" I'm like, no, it's not.
Hmm.
Like, dude, like,
Yeah, no, it's an interesting phenomenon for sure. I think it's fine. Like, if people are happy where they are and you have everything you need, like we're living in a time where, you got everything you need. Do you really need to have a grass is greener kind of attitude?
yes,
And some would say obviously Canada, like I feel like that kind of nationalistic behavior, although it's interesting because it's like, is it patriotic because you haven't left your country, or is it just like ignorant? I don't know. Like at the end of the day, I was gonna say that like Canadians like to think that they're like better than Americans and shit, but
right,
I
yeah,
don't think that's. I mean, it's such a generalization. Like, I mean, both countries are so big that like, there's a lot of different cultural things going on and a lot of similarities. And if you compare it to Europeans, I mean, there's layers upon layers of yeah.
There's a lot of
I
nuance.
guess.
Yeah, I find like Canada is essentially Diet America, as in like we really do try to mimic their culture for better or for worse, and yeah, we have our own issues. A lot of them are fairly similar, really. Like we have a similar history in a lot of ways, and it's
I
we
mean,
just
that's some
value
crazy
different.
history. If you look at real history, then
Oh my
there's some
god,
crazy shit that most people don't know that I feel like people need to know about. Okay, so
yeah.
one of them.
Let's hear it.
People in America are always like, "Oh, English, dude, English. It's all about English." It's like, well, actually, the Bill of like rights and like, oh no, it was like the independence, like the very beginning, like their very first like legislature. It was like one vote was the difference between it being written in English or in German.
That's so
Like it's not
funny.
even insane. Like it was like one vote away from the entire world speaking like German right now instead of English, like literally. Um, and you know what I mean? I mean, like the whole concept of like America, it's only a couple hundred years old, so you got to be. Yeah, I mean, it's cool that it's all encompassing, and in Canada is the same, right? Like everyone comes from everywhere, and of course there's the Aboriginal cultures and stuff. So it's like, anyways, man, we're getting into fucking politics right now. That's not a
Yeah,
good
that's
idea.
dangerous territory of the internet, man.
I mean, we're musicians, so we should fucking be able to
Well,
talk
my
about
last
it.
interview before you actually was with a band from London, Ontario called Mall Crimes, and they're very like politically minded. So me and the singer, we went off on our own little tangents. It was so I already kind of exposed myself as the dirty, dirty leftist I am. So
Oh yeah, no, I'm on board with that, man, for sure, for
and
sure, for sure.
like I
for
said
sure.
before the interview was recording, I had a defunct YouTube channel where I ripped into Five Finger Death Punch, and let me tell you, man, the crowd that came out was pretty like
The MAGA
not
guys
down.
or whatever.
Yeah, dude, they weren't
Post,
down.
what are they called? The post MAGA
Yeah.
Trump apocalypse. I don't know. Like they need some new branding.
Well,
Anyway. But
every comment was a diatribe about rights and freedom. So I mean, I had my hair tied up in a bun, and one of my favorite comments was like, "I should never trust a guy with a man bun." And I thought that
oh
was kind of
shit.
good. Yeah,
Oh no.
yeah, he went for
Okay.
it.
Well, like
Yeah.
my hair's too long to even like know that it's in a bun anymore. But dude. Okay, wait. Before, like, I don't want to go too far off of the politics, but
Sure.
the other thing is that Canadians who were at the time were English, British, they actually burned the White House down.
Yeah,
Like
I
that.
know. Isn't that cool?
Okay, you know that? Like, so few people know about that. Like,
Dude, it's so awesome.
War of 1812. I mean, that was a real thing. I guess maybe they taught that to us in school. Like, I feel like
No, I heard that on like
maybe
the
not.
internet. Honestly,
Oh no,
a
it's
lot of-
real. It's real.
Yeah,
It's
that's
on
what I mean. That
Wikipedia.
was like I didn't learn that history. Like my history class was actually like surprisingly good for the time that I went to grade school. But no, I didn't learn about the White House thing until I was I think like a young adult. And I was like, yeah, dude, that's some good revolutionary shit right there.
I can't remember if it's like why it's called the White House because after they burnt it down, they're like, we're going to paint it white or some shit like that. Like there's some fanfare there.
Oh, is there? Okay. It is speaking of
But
weird history
yeah.
shit. I was like listening to a podcast where they're dissecting the history of Christopher Columbus. Dude, that's some wild shit, man. That guy was fucking crazy, dude.
He was just looking for money pretty much. He's like, please,
Yeah.
anyone, like give me money, please.
Dude, he was
and like
huge slave trader. Like that was like his
Oh, yeah.
bag, man. Like
Yeah. No, he's a piece of shit for sure.
Oh, dude,
and
huge monster.
he just would go to like anyone that would like pay him kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he like because I lived in Barcelona for a couple years in Spain,
Yeah.
and there's like a statue of him still up, like which is obviously not the most common thing to be having, I guess. So it was kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was being criticized and stuff, let's say, at the time, and but like he sailed away from there, like to find the Americas, find That's a perspective that you can also take, I guess.
Did you ever watch The Sopranos by chance?
Oh fuck yeah, of course.
Do you remember that one episode, the Columbus Day episode? Do you remember that one? Okay, so I love this episode. A lot of people hate this episode on like Sopranos forums, but like whatever. It's basically like the guys in the Sopranos crew, they love Christopher Columbus because to them he's like an Italian hero who discovered America, and like he's like one of them kind of deal. And the whole episode is about like how everyone's like, dude, Columbus was actually like a huge piece of shit. And they go to like a protest where all these like native people are protesting Columbus Day, and they get into a brawl. It's fucking wild. Like,
I mean that's The Sopranos is great because it's like okay, it might be an Italian American gangster mentality, but it shows a lot of like the ignorance of those people. Like, dude, I can say this because I'm literally like my grandfather immigrated from Italy to Canada. Mm-hmm. But like, I just want to say that like it's nothing against the culture there, but like obviously the gangsters, a lot of them don't even speak Italian or something like that, right? Like they lose their culture entirely, and then they just have these kind of like overarching themes to their existence, like we're Romans. It's like, are you Romans though? Like, do you even know the history? Like, do you know the history? Do you know how many peoples have been mixed over the last thousands of years? Like, you know what I mean? It's so difficult to take that like that mentality. Like, I stem from this exactly. You know, and if you go today and you do genealogy, it's like you notice, okay, like I have literally ancestors from everywhere. Like my dad found ancestors from China, from Portugal, like all of like the Celtic and Germanic, Saxon, whatever. Like, it's mixed. And like, I don't know. I mean, it's okay. It's the topic is too complex. And now this needs to be a podcast, not about my music, but about just like random shit.
Yeah, that reminds me. You do play music too. So
no, fuck no. I don't play music, man.
Yeah, so you have an instrumental album coming out. Is it pronounced Taran? Am I getting that right?
No, Terran.
Oh, fuck. You see, that's actually if you watch the podcast, that's actually a thing I'm notorious for, is mispronouncing names. It's a thing
I like it, man. It's spicy. Yeah. Taran? It could be. Why not?
Yeah, it's like a fake Star Wars name, just.
Well, it does actually has some. I can't avoid this. Like, I do think. I grew up playing games like StarCraft and stuff, and like Terran is kind of like the main human race in that kind of like sci-fi type game. So
yeah,
that's definitely like an influence for sure for the name.
Well, so you're playing instrumental shred music, so I think everyone knew you played video games at one point in your life, whether or not you've telegraphed that or not. I think we all just kind of like knew that you're on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, you learn like okay, let's put it this way.
Yeah,
the physics, like the physical. Like needing to push the button as fast as you can, kind of like vibe, like Smash Bros. Just like smash it, just like Street Fighter. I'm telling you that shit directly translates to guitar if you know what you're doing. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I fell off video games in recent times only because of time management, but man, I fucking miss it. Like I just reinstalled like Destroy All Humans last night, or the night before rather, and I was like, yep, I'm back in heaven, man. I periodically play Duke Nukem 3D. That's like my annual game.
Shit, that's a throwback.
Oh, dude, I love boomer shooters, dude. Like, that's kind of my thing, is like, every year I'll be like, all right.
Quake, dude. Yeah.
Oh, dude,
they have a huge competitive scene still.
I know.
Like, huge. And it's just like, they're trying to run it at like 17,000 FPS and shit to get like the lowest latency and stuff. It's really funny.
Dude, that shit's way above my head, man. Like, I played a little bit of Quake 3, but like as an adult. Like, I remember when I first played Quake 3, I must have been like 18 or 19 or something. So I was really high on marijuana, and I would just play that for hours, man. But I would get creamed because all the people who still play Quake 3 Arena are like stupid good.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I was just a rookie, right? I was just kind of
they do that twitching, like that Twitch thing where they just like whip the mouse around and just headshot you and like
they do a lot of that, and also to really get at rocket jumps. I'm just not at that level, man. I'm a filthy casual. I just want to like just veg out for an hour. But anyways, so your album, Taran, you have an instrumental shred album coming out, and what inspired you to kind of go back and make instrumental shred music? You play in bands that have vocalists. You decided to.
I do vocals as well, actually. I mean, I messed around with vocals for the album as well, but I have to say, like for people who know me, this won't be a surprise, but like I have written a lot of shred music in the past. Like, what does that mean? Shred music? Is it what is shred even? It's guitar driven music. Like I've written a lot of instrumental music in the past, and people kind of knew me for that. And that's actually what allowed me to get into some of the bands and like some of the, just like giving me some opportunities. So I did like kind of competitions where I would just like be able to write a song and people could like listen to it, and it gave me some exposure and stuff. So let's just say like I really like that style of music. I grew up also listening to a lot of instrumental music. I really like classical and jazz, and I really like shred guitar. I don't know, I think like people like Buckethead, Paul Gilbert.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. And then I got into people like Paul Wardingham, and I don't know if you know him, but he's like a good friend of mine. He was my teacher for a while, and I don't know, I just really appreciate what you can do and what you can say with the content of music. And I think as an artist, like who also does like dancing and choreography, I think the kind of like intervallic spatial aspect to instrumental music is like an aesthetic that I can also draw from like other things that I've done. As where vocals, it tends to be like, yeah, it would maybe have to be a bit more political or something like that. And I find myself just being, I don't know, like I'm just drawn to that aesthetic and that like technical aspect of instrumental music where you can really focus on like the notes, the melodies, the groove. I don't know. It's a complex topic, obviously.
Yeah. Well, no, I played instrumental music for many years too. I went to school for jazz actually, so I kind of started off as like a metal guy, fell into jazz, and then I kind of got out of it. Started playing more like hardcore and death metal as I got a bit older. But like, yeah, dude, I know what you mean about the whole instrumental thing, where it's like when you really like dig into like what the guitar can do and the dynamics of the guitar, it kind of like it makes you really just want to explore that like super deeply. And once I did it for a while, and I kind of got out of it as like my taste developed throughout the years and stuff like that. Like I was much younger when I went to school for music, right? But that's actually why I asked if you're a theory guy, because I was like, oh, he's in instrumental stuff. He's dug into Circle of Fifths and knows his chord shapes.
No, yeah, I know that wasn't on air, so I'll just mention it again. Like I would definitely not describe myself as a theory person. Like when I'm writing, I don't think about things that are, I guess, seen as being correct, right? Yeah. Like that's what I would guess, like that's how I would describe like writing from a theoretical perspective, right? Like knowing that this chord goes with this chord. At the same time, you can never pull away from the other thing that I think is like the most important thing is like using your ear, right? Yeah. And I think at a certain point, like what you know in terms of your theoretical knowledge and your understanding of your relationship with your instrument and how you can create sounds like using your ear, like I think there's obviously a lot of overlap. So when I say I'm not into theory, like I guess what I'm trying to say is that I couldn't dissect my music very well, other than tell you like the intervals or use my ear to figure out what I'm doing. But I am not like, I mean, I could try and figure out like what kind of arpeggio it is, and like I know the steps that are needed in order to like create a chord or something, right? Like obviously I know like basic stuff, and I know probably some complex stuff like more complicated scales. But like, is memorizing a scale theoretical knowledge? Or is
no,
it
not really.
Knowledge?
For me,
right?
It would be more so about why those notes sound good together, and like when you kind of get stumped when you're writing, being like, okay, here's the last chord I'm on, or the last root note I'm on. Where does that logically want to go? And that's the thing too, is like theory is basically just an observation of what patterns have been proven to generally work. And it's up to us as writers to decide, do we want to subvert that expectation or not? That's where it kind of gets more like heady, right? Because like if you want to write very tonal kind of like shred music, you could probably just stick to like classic chord progression, shred on top of it, call it a day, and I'm sure it'd be fine. But
well, maybe that's why it's also it's like a bit convoluted, because the style that I do actually write, I don't have like very many chord progressions in the backgrounds of my solos and stuff. Like I like to have the music be quite complex and find ways that just find like new sounds. So it's very progressive in that way, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like I'm trying to find, let's say, interesting riff ideas that have a lot of rhythmical and musical content that move in a certain direction. And I'm obviously thinking about contrasts and things like that. So like obviously from the compositional side, maybe I'm more theoretical, right? But I'm not in the sense that like I can tell you what chord you're playing right now or something. Like I can tell you if it's major, minor, and if it's a seventh chord maybe. But like other than that, it's like, I don't know. Does it really matter? Like, is most modern music not just based on like triads and shit? Like, Anyways,
Yeah. I mean,
I don't want to
honestly,
bore.
yeah.
I don't want to bore everyone watching, but like, I think what I do is I take the positives of composition, which is like, it's improvisation, right? And I can use improvisation, and I can use something that I'm like feeling in the moment, and my knowledge of the fretboard and things like that. Like I can use it in the moment to write something, and then I can also be more critical of myself, and I can think, oh, okay, is this what I wanted to say? Like, or should I change this aspect? Like I'm very much writing inside of the box. Like I'm writing in my DAW. Sometimes I'm also writing like chord progressions with keys or something like that, and I'll make a riff over top of it. Like obviously there's so many possibilities, and I think I've explored a lot of those. I guess those like diverging ways of creating to keep it fresh. Like I don't think any of my songs are like different versions of the same song. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't know. Obviously there are only 2 songs out right now, and there'll be a third out next week. But I think that I show like different sides of my creative mind. Let's say.
Well, that's the thing about like writing music. With the new projects I'm kind of working on, something I kind of discuss with my bandmates a lot. Is that like we don't ever need to really reinvent the wheel, because people don't actually want that. And here's the thing: is like I think everyone gets, especially like rock players and metal players, they get really fucked up about this idea of like, well, we have to be innovative. We have to be innovative. We have to be like breathtaking
Faster,
and fresh,
better.
Yeah,
louder,
like,
like every superlative that you can think of.
Yeah. It's like, dude, fuck that, hands down. Like, you don't need any of that shit. And the reason why is because most people don't care. Is like, whenever, like, the truth is, you probably could actually write something that people have never heard before, but I promise you, people don't want to listen to that shit. Like, you know what third stream music is? Ever heard that term?
No.
It's kind of been coined. This is kind of like a music theory kind of thing. It was coined in like probably the 40s, give or take, and it was basically a bunch of jazz and classical dudes who learned the other stream, right? So jazz guys that learn classical and classical guys that learn jazz, and they try to make up like a compositional kind of language. And so they just called it third stream, and this is some weird
Was
shit.
like Kurt Weill or something like that?
More
like
Oscar Peterson actually did a fair
Sorry,
bit of that.
I'm not sure about that.
Shut up, Alexa.
Whoops. Oscar Peterson did some of that kind of compositional style, and some of like the 20th century classical guys you could probably like argue their third stream. I'm not like a super big classical guy, but I had to listen to it.
I mean, like Stravinsky or something, like obviously he's
kind of
taking some aspects of like more dissonant chords and stuff, so that would have been influenced more by, let's even a little bit kind of very early jazz.
Even like Lenny Tristano and those kind of like fucked up jazz guys kind of did stuff like that. It was a good one. He still exists today. I saw him play live. Oh, the fucking saxophone player. Oh, God. Who played in Miles Davis's band. Oh, this is going to bug me.
Oh, Joshua Redman?
No, Redman does kind of get like pretty weird, though. Oh, fuck. What was the fucking guy? He's an old guy. This is going to bug me. I'm sorry. Anyways, he was like a 60s hard bop guy, but he still plays today. He's very old. Like, he's like 80-something or whatever, but he plays kind of third stream kind of stuff in his quartet and like... But anyways, that stuff is really new and innovative. Even like though it's like an 80-year-old genre, but like, man, people don't listen to that shit.
Oh, sure.
Like,
Exactly. Of course. If you're talking about fringe stuff, but like, I mean, I can list a bunch of musicians that have inspired loads of other musicians, and no one's ever heard of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like, I'm not. I don't think my music is in that vein. Like, I'm not.
No.
Dude, I'm. Don't worry. Like, I'm happy to inspire like people want to play guitar and like do like shred and stuff. But I don't think I'm like reinventing the wheel at all. I guess what I'm trying to say about my creativity is that I look a lot like inwards. I use a lot of my like eclectic background in music and in dance and like understanding of like what makes people move. I do understand that, you know, catchy melodies also have a place in music. Like, I really like to have catchy choruses and things like that, especially with the lack of vocals. You need something to like grab people's attention, you know, and maybe also there's people who aren't necessarily like that well musically versed, right? Like, I'm not trying to like look down on my audience and be like, I know things. Like, no, I'm trying to like, you know, share some fucking energy and shit. Like, it's mainly about like high energy stuff, to be fair though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I brought up the whole third stream thing, I wasn't like comparing your music to weird shit, because your music is very grounded in reality, and I appreciate that. You didn't send me the most fucked up shit I've ever heard in my life.
No, it's not just like only minor second intervals, like
Yeah,
ascending in minor thirds for like 20 minutes.
it's pretty cool.
No. Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think, to get back to, you know, my worldview and how that like shapes what I do in my music, which is something maybe people who want to hear about because they don't fucking know how I even sound, because they just see me playing guitar. It just like I don't know. I think like the music that we make is very much defined by our history and the also just like the time and place that we're like in right now, right? In the world. Like the fact that, we're living in the streaming times. Like maybe that affects how I want my music to be heard, right? Or the fact that I've, heard loads of jazz. And as a metal musician, that's not like necessarily that common. Like maybe that influences my stuff. Maybe, maybe there's 1,000 other fusion musicians who do it better than me. It's like at the end of the day, there is a lot of competition. There's a lot of people who do a lot of great stuff. I'm just here to be like, this is what I do. This is what I like. And maybe I'm not special. I don't really care, but I hope you can listen to it.
But actually,
Yeah.
going back to what you said about like the music we make is heavily inspired by our history, when you like your personal and like also like the cultural background. I think that's actually a huge divider actually between subcultures and music, in my observation, right? Like, again, like
For
I
sure.
mingle between hardcore and metal a lot, and
Hmm.
I noticed how little respect metal has towards hardcore, and I think a lot of that is like a big cultural misunderstanding. Like deathcore and death metal really aren't that dissimilar,
Dude,
but
they're
the
taking. Oh,
culture,
Deathcore is taking so much. I mean, all the
yeah.
San Fran, like the whatever SoCal, whatever, like California Deathcore. It's like so much heavily reliant on hardcore.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the misunderstanding that metal heads might have is that like the music isn't that dissimilar. It's just like the culture is just so alien, right? Like it's just like two different, completely different ideas of how the world's interpreted, and that really makes a huge difference how you perceive stuff, right? Like, it's kind of like superficial stuff, but like superficial differences are like so
Oh,
like
I don't
humans
think it's
identify them.
superficial. Yeah,
You know?
totally, right? Like that's the first thing you see is image, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's what draws us at first. That's something that I struggle with because I've like in my life I've had so many like I'm very chameleon like in my I guess representation of my own culture because it's also hard to know like what is my culture, right? I grew up in Toronto. Dude, I
Hmm.
listened to gangster rap like my whole childhood and shit.
Yeah.
But my dad was like into like Celtic music and whatever, and like whatever. I listened to Led Zeppelin, but I'm like, what is this like grandpa rock? But then I was like, oh shit, this is amazing. You know what I mean? It's like it goes in waves. Like I saw Keith Jarrett live, and now I'm at the ballet. Like there's so much crazy culture out there, and like I find it is easy to just be like, okay, this is my subculture, this is culture, and this is what I want to look like. This is what I want to sound like, and I'm gonna like alienate everyone else. Um, and I think that's something that metalheads can do. I don't think it's like you have to do that, and I don't
No, you
think
definitely don't have to, but
it's not like like there's no way to I don't even know if I can say that I know anyone who's really done that, but it is obviously like a scene thing, and there's pride in that as well, right? Like I think there's a value to that. There's a community, a family aspect to it. Um, but I guess what I wanted to say regarding hardcore and like branching into hip hop, right? Like,
mhm.
ironically, my next single is called Gin and Juice, but
Yeah.
gin with a DJ, yeah, DJINN, like
That's
like the
awesome.
genie and shit, yeah, because and this song is actually quite, yeah, it's kind of got a gangster rap vibe, man. Like I love
Yeah.
Tupac and Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, like all the West Coast stuff. Like when I was growing up, obviously I listened to New York rap as well, Tribe Called Quest or
Yeah,
whatever.
of
Like
course, yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
too much into Biggie or P Diddy or whatever. But like, anyways, I was really into rap growing up. I was huge into hip hop dancing. That's actually how I got into dance. Like I would
Oh,
do like the
cool.
crip walk at my school and shit, and people were like, "Oh my god, this kid can dance!" And I was like, "Oh, dancing is fun." Anyways, we don't have time for all this shit because I'm gonna go pick up my daughter in a few minutes. But long story short is, yeah, next song, Gin and Juice. It's a perfect accidental, you know, talking about culture and going into music. Like I just wanted to bring a little bit of that to metal. Like I think gent and like all this kind of like more rhythmically focused music. I don't know if it would exist like without black music or something. And I think it's like
Yeah.
almost irresponsible to be like, yes, I I invented this style of music. Like no, I came from like the lineage of whatever, right? And it's nothing new, it's nothing fantastic, but I can try and fuse like past influences and maybe I don't listen to rap anymore. It's sometimes I do. I don't know. Now I have a daughter. She's 1 years. She's 1 year old. 1 years old.
Years.
Exactly. And I find myself just playing like all kinds of stuff for her all the time.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like I can just be like, yo, stream this for me. Stream this. And like, I don't know, I'm listening to fucking High School Musical songs by accident. And I'm like liking it. I'm just like, I've never even heard a single song from this before. But like, there's some insane vocalists there. Like
Yeah,
you know, I'm
yeah.
all about just like appreciating music. And yeah, and the next song's like a fucking gangster rap shred song. So check it out. Like,
Well, that's big brain energy. Is that you've exposed yourself to so much music. When you go back to like show tunes and movie soundtracks, you're like, oh man, High School Musical has some good writers, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like,
dude, you know what? Like oh man, oh I can totally appreciate Disney music. Like how difficult is it to make like the most accessible but also still relatively, I mean, I don't want to say complex, but like beautiful in its simplicity, like, you know, using
Yeah.
those obvious chord progressions. Like how can you still make that fresh and new? Like for so many years, right? Like that's pretty insane.
I
I
think
guess
about that a
they
lot,
branch
yeah.
off. They, you know what they do? They steal cultural stuff. They
Oh,
steal
yeah,
cultural
yeah,
stuff
dude.
and then they go into
Come
it.
on.
Like, you know, how much money, how many billions have they made off Lion King or whatever, right?
Oh my god.
And everyone's like, oh yeah, that's all Disney music. It's like, yeah, okay. Thanks, Paul Simon. Like, you started it, bro. Or I don't know.
Yeah, Paul Simon did a whole like Africano influence.
Oh, it's a
pop
great
music
album. That
and,
album
like,
is so sick. And
Yeah.
and like, of course you can, okay, like as somebody who likes to criticize things, yeah, you can see it and you can be like, yo, this guy just went there and stole a bunch of people's music. But at
Yeah.
the same time, he also like put it on the map and he had people like listening to it and he respected the culture at the time and he like did his best. You know, it's not like he was showing up there and telling people what to do. Like, no,
Right,
like,
right.
he brought it in. Like, and it's so
Yeah.
difficult in this time. Like, you could just go back and just like, what does it even call it? You could just like cancel him right now. You know, like, motherfucker. Like, what are you doing? How
Maybe
dare
we
you
should
go to
cancel
Africa
Paul
and make
Simon.
nice music? Like, I don't know.
That's a good idea, actually. You heard it here first, guys.
No, please don't cancel me for like
No, we're gonna cancel Paul
growing
Simon.
up in
You're
no,
good,
no, I
you're
know,
good.
I know. But like now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh shit, I call my song Gin and Juice. Like, please don't cancel me because like
No,
you
that's
can go
funny.
back and find pictures of me in like a do-rag on my Facebook and shit. Like, it's not my fault.
Well, you got to lead him.
It's the
before people
culture
find
we grew up
them.
in. It's the fucking culture that we grew up in, you know? Like, there's so many awesome cultures around. Like, learn from it.
But you know,
I don't know
the
why
whole-
this always turns into some kind of inspirational speech, but like, if you listen to like Jacob Collier or whatever, Collier, he calls
I think it's
himself,
called
but
Collier. I don't remember how to pronounce his name.
It's
but,
Collier though because it's necklace. It's Jacob Necklace. Anyways, sorry, dude, to tell you what your name means or whatever. But
Yeah.
he talks a lot about that in some of his like master classes and stuff, like where he just like gets like insanely random specific inspiration from the most obscure cultural music you've ever heard. In his case, it's probably something that's like actually interesting, like really polyrhythmic or, you know,
Yeah, he's into
odd time
nerd shit,
signature. Yeah, he's into all that nerd shit. Like, fuck that, no. No, I'm just saying, like, be open minded
Yeah.
and like and listen to my boring ass shred music. Like, I don't know. It's difficult.
Yeah, I really appreciate, by the way, the Gin and Juice title, because I know what the word gin means. That's something that I was familiar with when I saw that. I was like, oh, okay,
Oh,
that's
totally.
good.
Yeah. It has like a Middle Eastern
Yeah.
vibe, I guess. Like, I don't know. I just picture Robin Williams though
As a genie?
as the genie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there was that movie that people have watched.
Dude,
People
Aladdin,
tell
bro.
me it's a
Come
good
on.
film.
I don't know, man. Everyone's gonna think I'm like some kind of Disney nerd now. Fuck.
Well, proofs in the
But
pudding.
go listen to my death metal band or my music, and then you'll understand that I'm not
Yeah,
crazy. And
I'm gonna let you go so you can pick up your child. Don't abandon your child for a for a low level interview. Yeah, where could we? Your new album. When's the release date? When's Terran coming out?
all right, Taran is out on the 25th of November.
Okay.
But I got like 3 singles, including the album titled Terran, and that'll be out on the day. So I got Gin and Juice coming out next week on the 16th. I want to say 16th. Yeah, 16th. And then October 7th is the next single, Goliath Online.
Cool.
It's gonna be more dancey than ever. So for all you dance nerds who also like metal, all 0.0001% of the population out there, yeah, check that video out. And yeah, and then I don't know, you can find me on Spotify now. You can follow me there, Instagram, all that crap. YouTube. You can check out my other videos and see if you like it. And if you made it to this part of the video, anyways, you deserve like a massive pizza or whatever. But
little golf clap.
Exactly.
I was going to ask, is this an independent release or is it going through a label?
Oh man, so this is actually fully independent.
Cool.
But I was lucky enough to get some funding in Germany as an artist to make the album. So it's yeah, in that sense it is independent and
yes.
Yeah, and I don't have a label. I don't answer to anybody. I have to do everything myself. It's very tiring.
So if we look up Morgan Reid on YouTube and Spotify, we will find all the music coming off of Terran. Bloodshot Dawn obviously has all the classic socials, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Nah, fuck that. Yeah, I'm just fucking with you, dog.
Instagram is Instagram's where I kind of live these days, but I guess all the good videos are on YouTube. So
of course, yeah.
Facebook, I'm like an old man now, so Facebook is still good. And I have a TikTok. I made a TikTok and I did like hashtag like choreography on it, and I got like some likes. Some little girls were probably watching.
Oh
my god,
they're being a dance on TikTok for sure, man. Well, anyways, man, congratulations on following through with a solo project. I think all of us musicians can relate to starting one, having demos on our computer, and then the graveyard. But congratulations on Taran coming out in November.
Thank you for that, man. That's actually very touching, because most people don't know how much work it actually is to actually release something that you've done by yourself. It's so impossible.
Don't bug Morgan about this topic, bug me, because I can show you my solo demos that are just fucking collecting dust.
Do it, man. I want to stream. We just go through all your like catalog.
Oh, dude, do you want to someday? My god, dude, it's a fucking it's dude, it's a trip.
It's a wasteland.
It literally will give you way more information about my private life than like anything else I could post.
Nice, man.
Yeah. But anyways,
right, well,
I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much,
pleasure,
Mr.
man.
Morgan Reid. It was a pleasure talking to you, man.
We should do part 2, man. Like, there's so much other stuff to talk about, like
oh my god,
the war in Ukraine and like I don't know.
Oh no,
what else is
real.
No, I'm just. Oh shit! I shouldn't have said those words. Yo, you're gonna cut that out from YouTube, man. They're gonna like demonetize you so fast.
I'm gonna chop this interview to bits. No, I'm just
yeah. No, please do. Please chop out the German part. Nobody wants to hear about me organizing my.
Yeah, if it makes you feel better, none of our audience will understand. Okay, but yeah, I'm gonna let you go.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening, and go check it out. And thank you, Marcus, for having me, man.
Pleasure.